Hi guys, and welcome back to another pregnancy number 2 vlog series video. Today's video I'm going to do a bit of a comparison of trimester 1 from pregnancy 1 and this pregnancy. I thought this would be something cool just to look back on, just to see how different they were. We obviously know the gender. Currently, right now, I'm nearly 21 weeks, so we already know, but I will keep that for my next video. You guys will find out. So yeah, I thought I would just kind of start out and I would do a recap of my first trimester in Micah's pregnancy, and then I'll do a recap of my symptoms in this current pregnancy right now for first trimester. With my first oh god. I'm so dumb at the moment, like I just can't speak, nothing, words. With my first pregnancy, so with Micah, I found out at about 2 to 3 weeks that I was pregnant, so I found out really early. And the reason for this, like I didn't really have any like pregnancy symptoms, if that makes sense, like that I kind of thought like, oh my god, like I'm pregnant, like that just didn't happen. It was just really spontaneous. I had someone comment on how much food I was eating, so it came to my attention that my first sign of pregnancy was extreme hunger. Like I was just eating a lot, like higher volume quantity of food, and I also had sore boobs. Now I never get any, whenever I have my period, the only thing I really get is a bit of bloating and sometimes some back pain. So when I had sore boobs, I thought, oh, this is a bit weird. So they were like my first things that drew me to taking a pregnancy test, and yeah, it turns out I was pregnant 2 to 3 weeks. The clear blue ones that tell you how far along you are, it said 2 to 3 weeks. Moving along to about, what was it? It was 5 weeks and 3 days. I couldn't keep anything down, whether that was any type of food, any drink, water, everything that I put in my mouth comes straight back up, nearly instantly. So I booked into the doctors and they first tested me on, I'm gonna say this wrong, but I think it was Maxilin. That was a very strong sedative medication. Like I absolutely hated it. I was just feeling groggy all the time. Yeah, it was like nearly falling asleep at the wheel. Yeah, I just hated it. So they swapped me to Ondansetron, which is the stronger one, and that was a lot better. So in regards to that, I started Maxilin at that 5 weeks and 3 days, and I didn't last on that long at all. It was 6 weeks exactly, and I started Ondansetron. Now with my morning sickness, I was actually diagnosed at 7 weeks after my first hospital admission. So I had 3 hospital admissions between 7 weeks and 17 weeks with Micah's pregnancy. My first hospital admission was at 7 weeks exactly. So again, I couldn't keep any food down, any liquid down. It would all just come straight back up. Also, I apologize if there's background noise. I've got my dogs barking on one side of me outside this door, and then to the left I've got Micah playing with toys and watching cartoons. So there's a lot going on, so I apologize if you can't hear me properly. So like other things that I had at the time was just really bad fatigue. Like I just felt like I had no energy. It was almost like pregnancy insomnia. Like I had a lot of trouble sleeping, and I was just constantly sick, constantly nauseous, constantly spewing. Didn't matter the time of the day, it was just non-stop. The only other thing was I had a tiny little bit of bloating. I'd probably say around like the 7 to 8 week mark. I had a tiny little bit of bloating, but it like didn't last long at all and was not really noticeable at all. My big thing was that all through my first trimester, my boobs were just sore the whole first trimester. And it was just very hard to keep anything down, eating very plain, bland foods all the way up until 17 weeks. Plain toast, pasta with no sauce, like literally just boiled pasta, and then a lot of like takeaway oily foods like chips and like potato cakes and that sort of thing. My main craving in Micah's pregnancy was picnics and vanilla Coke. That kind of sums up first trimester with Micah's pregnancy, and now I'll talk about this current pregnancy with my first trimester symptoms. So this one was a bit different. I found out a little bit further along. I did a pregnancy test just due to being what I thought was food poisoning. It was still kind of there the next day, and I just felt really like groggy and nauseous. Jade was joking around saying, haha, imagine if you're pregnant and I looked at my app and saw that I was only a 1 day late to my pregnancy, so to my period. So that was like the two things there. So I found out, like logging on my app and that sort of stuff, that I was 4 weeks and 3 days pregnant when I found out, when I took the test, because the clear blue ones, they only take up to the first 3 weeks, and then they say like if you're further along than 3 weeks, it just says 3 weeks plus. Yeah, based off the app, I found out at 4 weeks and 3 days. I had like a tiny little bit of nausea. It was just kind of like constant throughout the day, like it just never went away, but there was no vomiting this time until I hit about the 8-week mark. Once again, the vomiting started at 8 weeks and ended at 17 weeks, so I had a lot shorter time of vomiting. It still stopped again at that 17-week mark. Yeah, so with my spewing this time around, like I said with Micah's pregnancy, didn't matter what time of the day it was, like it was just constant non-stop. But with this pregnancy, it was mostly just the morning. I spew anywhere from 1 to 5 times before lunchtime, and then I was like fine for the rest of the day, but I'd still have like nauseous feeling there. However, once I did hit second trimester, about 13 weeks, is when the vomiting also increased a bit more. It wasn't just in the morning, like it was always still every day in the morning, but there was also different times throughout the day and during the night as well where I would spew. This time around I went on Densatron again, but I didn't start it until 10 weeks. Didn't stop the nauseous feeling, but definitely stopped the spewing. I was also getting like a lot of food aversions a lot earlier. I got them in Micah's pregnancy, but literally not until like the 3rd trimester. But this already started in halfway through the 1st trimester for me. And once again, it was chicken. So it was chicken with Micah's pregnancy. I just went totally off chicken, whether it was cooking it, eating it, just anything. It's happened again, but a lot earlier this time around. The smell of it, cooking it, everything would just make me feel like I'd want to spew, and most of the time I would, if not, would make me really nauseous. I was getting a lot of bloating a lot earlier this pregnancy, and almost showing in the 1st trimester at about 7 weeks. It was getting very hard to hide. People say that with each consecutive pregnancy you show a lot earlier each time, and I've definitely shown a lot earlier this pregnancy. I was also randomly emotional, just like tiny little things, like I would just cry. Any little thing could just set me off at any time, even if I'd been like really happy beforehand or whatever. Just any tiny little thing, I would just cry. In regards to food, like I said with Micah, I was eating really plain and bland food and takeaway. This time around, I was like craving healthy foods. All I really wanted was massive salads, or like tuna and veggie rice bowls, or like ham salad rolls. And my big craving this time around has been solo. Another major difference between this pregnancy and last pregnancy was at the 9-week mark. From my blood test results, I got classified as a high risk pregnancy because of iron, like extreme anemia. Is that how you say it? Anemia? Anyway, iron deficiency and vitamin D deficiency, and also hyperthyroidism, so an overreactive thyroid. And this resulted in me seeing a specialist from 14 weeks. And then the last thing that I've kind of got to say is just fatigue. So from about the 10-week mark, just had a lot of fatigue and already trouble sleeping and getting like the back pain and just like really low energy levels, which has been really hard being sick and low energy and like needing your time to rest during pregnancy, but having to also chase after a baby. Well, he's not a baby, what is he? He's like an infant now, but chase after him and just still be a mum is really hard as well. But that's all. I've got my little man over there. He's starting to stir a bit because it's nearly dinner time. But yeah, that's my little comparison of 1st trimester from pregnancy 1 and pregnancy 2. I hope you enjoyed this. I think that it's really interesting seeing the differences. I will be back very soon, this time around with a bit of a wedding update, because I'm married. We got married on the 28th of May. Next video will be a wedding video. I have a lot of videos planned, so it's just a matter of doing them. I will speak to you very soon. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Leave any comments below of any feedback as well. I love chatting to you guys in the comments. We'll see you next video with a wedding update. Bye.